10. So the change is negative. It's going down 3 degrees every hour. All right, so we're going to say it's negative 3 degrees per hour. The temperature is dropping 3 degrees per hour. All right, so that's everything for rational numbers. So now we'll just look at a couple proportional relationship questions. We did just review this stuff, so this should be very familiar. But the first one here is looking at a table and just asking, is that proportional? So in order for a table to show a proportional relationship, the ratio of y divided by x has to be constant. That's how we know it's proportional. It's a constant ratio. So it says, is this proportional? And explain. So I'm just going to take each point on here and I'm going to divide y divided by x and see if I get the same thing. So 10 divided by 2 would be 5, and then I go to the next one, 12 divided by 6 is 2. I can stop right there. Okay, those aren't the same. So now I need to explain. So I'm going to say, no, it's not proportional, because the ratio of y divided by x is not constant. You could also say something like, no, because I divided y divided by x and didn't get the same thing every time. You just have to be specific about what you're describing. All right, so then it says, whether you have a table or a graph to find the unit rate, it's always dividing y divided by x. All right, so this one says, find the unit rate for each situation. So the first one we have is a table. When the table is sideways, people sometimes get confused. The top one is your x, the bottom one is your y. All right, so if I want to find the unit rate here, I can pick any point on the table and divide y divided by x. So I'm just going to pick the first point right here, and I'm going to do y divided by x. So $2.10 divided by 6 ounces. Okay, and that gives me 0.35, which in this case is 35 cents per ounce. So that would be my unit rate. All right, next one we have is a graph. It's the same thing. A lot of people on the test got confused on the graph question. It had the points labeled like this. When you look at a point, so again, we can pick any point on the graph and divide y divided by x. When you pick a point, so say I pick this one right here. A lot of people on the test did this number divided by this number. If my point is 1/2, 4, this is my x, this is my y. All right, so if I look at this point, the y value of the point is 4. The x value is the 1/2. So you're doing 4 divided by 1/2. And you can just type that right into your calculator. 4 divided by 1/2. And that gives you 8. So our unit rate here would be $8 per pound. All right, so then the last thing we'll look at is just the equation. So it says, using the graph above, write an equation that can be used to determine the price given the number of pounds of mushrooms. So we just said our unit rate is 8. Your equation always looks like y equals kx, where k is your unit rate. So my equation is just y equals 8x. You can also use other letters that make sense for the question. Okay, so for example, it looks like they labeled that C. Okay, so you could do C equals 8, and then they said W for weight. So you could label it like that, or you could just leave it as y equals 8x. So then part B says, determine the price of 3 1/5 pounds. So I'm going to write down my equation again. So if you used y equals 8x, that's fine. Now we have 3 1/2 pounds. So if I look up here at my graph, the pounds is x. So if this is pounds, that needs to get plugged in for x. So I'm going to have y equals 8 times 3 1/5. And then I'm just going to type that into my calculator. I already have the 8 here from the last part, so I'll just press times 3 1/5. Okay, that gives me 25 3/5. Now technically we're talking about money here, it's a price, so I shouldn't write it as a fraction. So I'm going to do second PRB. So that is 25.6. That's not $25.06, it's $25.60. So that is my answer.